Carter. Kiara.
And then to start off our presentation, we started off with just the Chinese flag and the representation of it throughout the Chinese block. We're going to have the flag on the light poles, hanging on like every light pole of the block, and then hanging from buildings also. And then just like the Basque block, how it has it in the cement in like certain spots, probably like every other like cement block, it would have like a little flag emblem in each one of those. And then the meaning of the flag is the red represents the communist revolution, and then red is also like the traditional color of the Chinese people. And then the big star, the big star is represents just communism in general. And then the four little stars surrounding it, those ones, all represent social classes. And then, so they only have four social classes, and then this is obviously an older flag, and then it was, they didn't really create it, it was more like they adopted it October 1st, 1949. And then, yeah, Chinese flag.
So I chose to do symbols and decorations because that's very prominent in their culture. So the color scheme I chose was red and yellow and black and white. Black and white symbols balance or yin yang. Red is the color of celebration and good luck and fortune. And yellow means earth and royalty. And the dragon stands for the emperor in their culture. And I wanted to implement this in all of the architecture, the buildings on the walls and streets in the block, as like the foundation and structure for like the theme. And then for the first architectural building, we wanted to implement was a community center, and this would be the main center for all of the people to meet for the social gatherings. So I included a lobby, which would be just a hangout spot with like TVs, and a fitness area for their activities, a kitchen, which would be for like the Chinese chefs to come in and cook for the community, and special programs, which would be like yoga and tennis, badminton, for the people to spend time together, and family fun events for the kids and families to meet.
And then I also did the dining. So the first idea that came to my mind was just P.F. Chang's. So I implemented one P.F. Chang's in the Chinese block because they serve a lot of just traditional Chinese courses. And then I also wanted to implement another Chinese, like more traditional restaurant, kind of like not a hole in the wall, but more of just like very traditional, cultural kind of restaurant. I don't know the names of those restaurants because they're all kind of like different. Then I also wanted to do like around the corners, just small little food vendors. Like you could do, it's not full course meals, it's just like appetizers or like the smaller side meals. So like I chose chow mein, which you got a picture of right there. Also did rice because rice is obviously huge in the Chinese culture. And then like there'd be fried rice, just steamed rice, like all kinds of rices. And then also did spring rolls as one of the vendors because those are also a very popular dish, but they're not too filling. It's kind of just a snack that you can get on the way. And then I think that's it for the dining.
So in the Chinese block, we wanted to do something kind of like the Basque Museum, where it kind of talks about history and it talks about how they came to America. And I think the whole point of the Basque block is to is to actually make people of that culture feel like they're home. So I thought it'd be nice to kind of just talk about the culture and the history of Chinese culture. And so one thing that I thought would be cool is to kind of do like a Chinese New Year kind of type of day. Well, for Chinese New Year, people like celebrate Chinese New Year and like talk about why they do Chinese New Year, which is because it's to celebrate ancestors and to celebrate like different things things of their culture, and then another thing is to kind of talk about their type of clothing in China, and then to kind of talk about the history of Chinatown and San Francisco and stuff like that.
So in the museum, we'd also want to have a permanent memorial, kind of like the basket. And in our permanent memorial, we would want to put in there how the Chinese have really struggled since they've come to America. And one of the main things that we want to hit is the Exclusion Act of 1943. And really, we just kind of we don't want to make it too over the top, but we want to leave it pretty simple of a lot of the rules that went on during those times. So the Chinese were not allowed to vote. They were the only ethnic group denied access into the United States. They could not marry non-Chinese. They could not own property, could not work for the government, and could not testify in court. So pretty much anything that you take for granted as an American, even though they were American, is taken away from them. So we want to make sure that we highlight that in our museum so that everybody knows and that it is a permanent part of who they are and who they become. And then for part of kind of like our community center, we wanted to do a Chinese garden. And our way of doing the garden was the two roads between where the Bass Block is now, where the food is on one side and the museum is on one side. We'd take out that road so people couldn't drive through it anymore, and we'd make it like a small stream or a waterway. And that way we could keep most of the surrounding buildings, and we wouldn't have to do too much to the actual block to actually add something in. And in our stream, we'd want to have koi fish. And then at the end of it, we kind of want to do a bamboo area at the end, and it does grow in Boise. Turns out you can get it to grow here. I had to do research on that. And then we'd have like pavilions, like bridges that you could walk across, and then would have information on each of them about the surrounding areas. Oh, what?
And then another thing that would be good for our Chinese block is to really incorporate the religions that they used in their culture. And so I thought it'd be nice to do like to do Taoism and then Buddhism and Confucianism, and just to make them feel more at home, like I said before, and to also make them feel like that they're entitled to worship whatever they want.